What if I told you that each morning is like stepping into a radiant garden where the dew-kissed petals of God's presence bloom fresh and inviting? Imagine the air thick with the fragrance of His nearness, the gentle warmth of His love shining through every leaf, every ray of dawn's light. This is not just a poetic image. It is an invitation, a sacred call to your soul to awaken fully and embrace the reality that God meets you here, right now, at the start of your day. There is something deeply woven into the fabric of our being, a yearning that stirs quietly beneath the rush and noise. It is the longing for peace that transcends circumstance, for guidance that steadies the heart when the world feels uncertain, and for strength that rises not from our own efforts but flows from a source eternal and unfailing. Each morning, before the day pulls you in 1,000 directions, there is this sacred moment poised between night's rest and the demands of daylight, a moment pregnant with the possibility to align your heart with the heartbeat of God. Yet how often do we find ourselves stumbling into the day, distracted and hurried, with little more than a breathless prayer or a distracted, "God, help me," whispered between tasks. Our minds race to the to-do list, our spirits tethered to deadlines and worries. And in the midst of it all, the profound invitation to welcome God's presence first is overlooked. But what if your mornings could be different? What if, instead of entering the day weighed down by anxiety or scattered thoughts, you step deliberately into the presence of the Almighty, your soul quietly attuned to His voice, your spirit drenched in His peace? Embracing God's presence through morning prayer is not merely a religious routine. It is a transformative act of surrender and awakening. It is the deliberate choice to pause, to breathe deeply, and to open wide the door of your heart so that the light of heaven may flood in. As the psalmist declares, "Be still and know that I am God." Psalm 46:10. This stillness is not passivity but a profound opening, a posture of welcome where God's peace begins to weave its way through your thoughts, your emotions, and your intentions for the day ahead. Picture yourself walking through that garden of morning light, each step reflecting a heart that says, "Here I am, Lord. I come ready, I come open, I come expectant to receive your message." In this sacred space, the noise of the world fades just enough for the whisper of God's Spirit to be heard clearly. Your soul drinks deeply of His presence, and you find yourself renewed, not by your own strength, but by the gentle power of His nearness. This is the essence of morning prayer, a sacred habit that transforms ordinary moments into encounters with divine grace. It is the moment when heaven touches earth, and your spirit is invited to dance in the light of God's love and truth. It is in this quiet surrender that the restlessness of the heart is stilled, and the soul is anchored in a peace that will carry you through whatever the day may bring. But why does this matter so much? Because the way you begin each day sets the tone for everything that follows. When you rush headlong into tasks without first seeking God's presence, you risk carrying a spirit of anxiety, frustration, or disconnection. Your decisions become reactive, your strength finite, and your perspective limited. Yet when you begin with God, when you open your heart to Him in the morning, you invite a power that renews your mind and spirit, reshaping your attitude and equipping you to face challenges with grace and courage. It is not always easy to carve out this sacred time. The mornings can feel crowded with responsibilities, the demands of family, work, and life pulling at every moment. But what if, instead of seeing morning prayer as an added task, you embraced it as the foundation of your day? What if you allowed God's presence to be the first thing you encounter, the wellspring from which all other moments flow? The invitation is simple yet profound. Come ready, come open, come expectant to receive His message. This is not about perfection or lengthy prayers spoken flawlessly. It is about a heart posture that says, "God, I welcome your voice. I rest in your promises." It is the intentional turning away from the noise and haste, and the deliberate leaning into the stillness where God's presence fills every moment. As you imagine this morning garden, hear the gentle call beneath the rustling leaves. Be still and know that I am God. This is the invitation to pause, to breathe, to center yourself in the truth that you are not alone. God's presence is not distant or abstract. It is near, tangible, and ready to meet you in the quiet of your heart. So today, as the sun rises and the world awakens around you, remember this truth. The morning is a sacred threshold, a holy space where you can choose to welcome God's presence first. Step into that garden with expectancy and faith, knowing that as you do, your day will be touched by a power beyond your own. Come ready, come open, come expectant to receive His message. The Lord is near to all who call on Him, and in this moment, He is calling to you. Let your soul respond with a yes to peace, to guidance, to strength. Let your heart be the garden where God's presence blooms anew with every dawn. I declare this morning with holy conviction that His presence surrounds you. The light of His love shines upon your path, and His peace guards your heart. Step gently into this day, anchored in the truth that you are held, you are known, and you are deeply loved. God's presence fills every moment. Let this be your morning song, your prayerful breath, your steady foundation. Come ready, come open, come expectant to receive His message. Now, let us linger a moment longer in that sacred space of morning presence, for there is a power, hear ye, a transformative power, that goes far beyond a fleeting feeling or a moment of quiet. When you consciously embrace God's presence at the dawning of your day, something profound begins to take root within you. It is a renewal of the mind and spirit that reshapes your very approach to life's challenges, your attitude toward others, and the decisions that shape your path. God's presence is not merely comforting, it is a source of strength that empowers you to rise above the noise, the distractions, and the weariness that so easily weigh down the soul. When you begin your day by inviting Him in, you are aligning yourself with a power that is eternal, unchanging, and filled with grace. This power does not just sustain, it transforms. It renews your broken places, restores your weary heart, and fills you with a resilience that no circumstance can erode. Consider for a moment how your mornings often unfold. There is a pull toward distraction, the ping of your phone, the rush to meet deadlines, the swirl of worries pressing in from every side. In the midst of this chaos, it can feel nearly impossible to find the space to breathe, to focus, to connect with God's presence. Yet it is precisely here, in this tension between the world's demands and your soul's need for God, that the power of embracing His presence becomes most vital. To prioritize time with God over the noise of the morning is an act of spiritual courage and wisdom. It is saying, before I respond to the world's urgency, I will respond to the voice of my Creator. This choice is not about escaping reality, but about grounding yourself in a reality far greater than any challenge you face. It is about anchoring your heart in the unshakable truth that God is with you, that His Spirit fills you, and that His power is made perfect in your weakness. How does this look in practical terms? It means opening your heart fully in prayer, not as a hurried checklist, but as a sacred conversation. It means setting aside the distractions, the to-do lists, the endless scroll of news and social media, and instead turning your gaze upward and inward, toward the wellspring of life that never runs dry. It means coming before God with expectancy, ready to receive His guidance, His strength, and His peace. When you do this, your whole day shifts. Your thoughts begin to align with God's truth rather than the world's fears. Your emotions find balance in His steadfast love rather than the chaos around you. Your decisions are infused with wisdom that comes from above rather than mere human understanding. This is no small thing. It is the difference between living under the weight of your own limited power and walking daily in the light and power of the Holy Spirit. God's presence is a sanctuary amidst the storm, a refuge where your spirit can be renewed. As you invite Him into your morning, you are inviting transformation, not just for that quiet moment, but for the hours and challenges ahead. The peace that floods your heart in His presence becomes a shield against anxiety. The strength He imparts becomes the muscle that carries you through fatigue. The clarity He offers becomes the compass that directs your steps. This is why morning prayer is more than a ritual. It is a lifeline. It is a deliberate act of faith that says, I will not start my day disconnected and drained. Instead, I will start my day connected and empowered. And as you make this your practice, you begin to notice subtle but profound changes. You respond with greater patience. You listen with more attentiveness. You act with deeper courage. You walk through your day not as one tossed by circumstance, but as one anchored in the presence and power of God. Imagine the power that courses through your spirit when you greet the morning with a heart wide open to God's presence. It is like the first light of dawn breaking through a dark night, soft yet unstoppable. It is the gentle yet mighty wind that stirs the leaves and carries seeds of hope and renewal. This power is available to you not because of what you do, but because of who God is and His promise to be with you always. So, I invite you now to make a choice, no a one-time decision, but a daily commitment to prioritize this sacred time with God at the start of your day. To silence the distractions that clamor for your attention, and to open your heart fully in prayer. Come ready, come open, come expectant to receive His message. Let your morning be marked by intentional stillness, eager listening, and faithful surrender. When you do this, you will begin to see how His presence shapes your attitude. Frustrations that once consumed you will lose their grip. Worries that once paralyzed you will begin to unravel. The clarity you need for decisions, big and small, will come as a whisper from the Spirit. You will find resilience not in your own strength, but in the power of God working through you. There is a sacred rhythm here. Pause, pray, receive, and then step forward with confidence. This rhythm becomes a lifeline, a source of continual renewal, and a fountain of power that sustains you throughout the day's demands. It is a way of living that refuses to be defined by stress or scarcity, but is shaped instead by the abundance of God's presence. Remember, this is not about perfection or having every answer at the start of the day. It's about posture, about where you place your heart and mind as you step into the hours ahead. When you choose God's presence first, you are choosing a foundation that cannot be shaken. You are choosing a source of strength that never runs dry. You are choosing a peace that guards your heart and mind, no matter what comes. I encourage you to cultivate this sacred habit. Begin each day by seeking God's presence through prayer and quiet reflection. Let this be the wellspring from which your day flows. When distractions beckon, gently redirect your heart back to this place of peace. When challenges arise, remember the power that filled you that morning, the power of a God who is near, who guides, comforts, and empowers. This is the secret of a life transformed, a life marked not by the absence of difficulty, but by the presence of God through every difficulty. When you embrace Him in the morning, you walk daily in His light and power. His presence becomes your strength, His peace, your shelter, His guidance, your compass. Come ready, come open, come expectant to receive His message. Let this be your daily declaration. Let the power of God's presence renew you, shape you, and lead you. The morning is yours, a holy opportunity to begin anew, to be refreshed, and to be empowered for all that lies ahead. Pause with me for a moment and let these words settle deep into your spirit. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. This is not just a gentle suggestion or a poetic phrase. It is a divine invitation to pause amid the swirling chaos of life and anchor yourself in the unshakable presence of the Almighty. How often do we rush through our mornings, our minds consumed by the clamor of tasks and worries, missing this sacred call to stillness? Yet, in that stillness, there lies a wellspring of power and peace that can transform everything. The psalmist's command is a profound reminder that the very act of being still is an act of faith. To be still is to cease striving in our own strength, to quiet the endless noise of fear and doubt, and to recognize the sovereignty of God over all things. It is in this sacred pause that we open ourselves to truly know Him, not just as a distant deity, but as a living, present God who meets us in the quiet of our hearts. Isaiah offers a beautiful promise that flows naturally from this stillness. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Isaiah 40:31. The waiting here is not passive. It is an active, expectant posture of trust and surrender. It is the posture of a heart that says, I will not rush ahead relying on my own limited power. Instead, I will wait confident that God's strength will come. I have walked this path myself, learning slowly but surely the power of morning prayer and the embrace of God's presence at daybreak. There were mornings when my spirit felt heavy, weighed down by uncertainty, weariness, or fear. But in those moments, when I chose to enter into stillness and invite God's presence, clarity would break through like the first rays of dawn. Peace would settle over my heart like a gentle balm, and strength beyond my own would rise within me to face the day. This is no abstract idea or distant hope. It is a living reality that can become the foundation of your daily walk. When you make morning prayer a priority, you create a sacred space where God's voice can be heard above the noise. You cultivate a habit of leaning into His power rather than your own, of inviting His wisdom to guide your steps rather than your limited understanding. In this sacred rhythm, your spirit is renewed, your mind is aligned with truth, and your heart is filled with peace. Imagine the transformation that begins when you consistently embrace God's presence each morning. The worries that once tangled your thoughts begin to unravel. The fatigue that drained your energy is met with divine renewal. The confusion that clouded your decisions gives way to clarity and discernment. You begin to walk not by sight but by faith, confident that the one who holds the morning also holds you. This is the power of waiting on the Lord, not a surrender to passivity, but a courageous choosing to trust in His timing and strength. It is a daily invitation to set aside your own striving and to rest in the assurance that God's power is made perfect in your weakness. As Paul writes, "Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me." 2 Corinthians 12:9. When you start your day by embracing God's presence, you open yourself to this same power. Come ready, come open, come expectant to receive His message. Let these words be more than a mantra. Let them be the posture of your heart each morning. Let stillness become a sacred space where you meet God face to face, where His strength flows into your soul, and where His peace becomes the foundation of your day. It is in this sacred embrace that I have found clarity amid confusion, peace amid turmoil, and power amid weakness. Morning prayer has become my refuge and my strength, a time when I lay down my burdens and lift up my heart to the One who renews all things. And as I have done this, I have witnessed the transformative power of God's presence working not only in my life but through my life, equipping me to love more deeply, serve more faithfully, and walk more boldly. I encourage you to make this your practice as well. Prioritize this sacred time with God each morning. Let the quiet moments of prayer and reflection be the soil in which your faith takes root and grows strong. When the day's demands press in, return often to this place of stillness and surrender. Let God's presence be your daily refuge and your continual source of strength. The journey is not always easy. There will be mornings when the distractions feel overwhelming, when your spirit is reluctant to rise, or when the weight of the day ahead seems too heavy to bear. But even in those moments, remember the promise of Isaiah, "Those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength." Wait with faith. Wait with hope. Wait with the quiet confidence that God is near, ready to fill you with the power and peace you need. Come ready, come open, come expectant to receive His message. Let your morning prayer be a sanctuary where you meet the God who never leaves, who never fails, and who delights in filling your heart with His presence. This is the foundation of true peace and empowerment, the sacred space where heaven touches earth and your soul is renewed. I walk daily in His light and power because I have chosen to embrace this truth, that the strength I need does not come from within me alone, but from the God who meets me each morning with open arms and an unfailing love. I invite you now to join me in this journey of faith, to discover the transformative power of morning prayer, and to let God's presence be the anchor of your soul through every season. Come ready, come open, come expectant to receive His message. Let these moments of stillness and prayer become the foundation of a life filled with peace, strength, and unwavering hope. God is near to all who call on Him, and He is calling to you now. Will you answer? Now, as we stand on this threshold of morning, I invite you to step forward, intentionally, deliberately choosing to begin each day by seeking God's presence through prayer and quiet reflection. This is no mere formality or religious obligation. It is a sacred invitation to encounter the living God who is not distant or disengaged, but actively involved in every moment of your life. He is ready to guide your steps, comfort your heart, and empower you beyond what you can imagine. Think of morning prayer as the first breath of your day, not rushed or shallow, but deep and full, drawing in the very life of God. It is the moment when you pause before the busyness consumes you, when you silence the distractions that clamor for your attention, and when you open the door of your heart wide to welcome the Spirit's gentle and powerful presence. This practice anchors you in a reality far greater than your circumstances. It roots you in the eternal love and wisdom of the Creator. God's presence is not a distant echo or a faint whisper. It is a vibrant, tangible force that fills the quiet spaces of your soul. When you make morning prayer a daily habit, you create a sacred rhythm that transforms ordinary moments into divine encounters. This is where heaven touches earth, the moment your spirit aligns with God's, and His power begins to flow through you. Silence the noise of your surroundings and the chatter of your mind. Lay aside the worries and plans that press in. Come ready, come open, come expectant to receive His message. Let your heart be the fertile soil into which God's word and spirit can fall, growing a harvest of peace, clarity, and strength. This is the posture of surrender and faith that invites transformation. You may wonder, but what if my mind is too restless? What if the distractions are too loud? Know this: God meets you right where you are. He does not require perfect stillness or eloquent prayers. He desires a heart willing to pause, to listen, and to receive. Even a few moments spent in humble openness can shift the course of your entire day. God's presence fills every moment, even the ones tangled with noise and distraction. As you cultivate this habit, you will find that the power of God's presence begins to shape not only your mornings but the entire rhythm of your life. The peace you receive in those early moments becomes a shield against anxiety. The guidance you glean becomes a compass for your decisions. The strength imparted becomes the muscle that carries you through trials. This is the transformative power of a daily encounter with God. Imagine waking each day with a heart attuned to the divine, your spirit refreshed and your mind aligned with God's truth. Imagine facing challenges not with fear or fatigue, but with the boldness that comes from knowing you are held and empowered by an unshakable presence. This is the promise and power of morning prayer, a promise that begins with a simple, intentional step. Come ready, come open, come expectant to receive His message. Let this be the daily invitation you answer without hesitation. Let your mornings be marked by a sacred stillness, a heartfelt cry, and a faithful listening. In these moments, you will find the strength to walk through your day with purpose, peace, and power. The habit of morning prayer is a gift you give to your Sula sanctuary you build before the world's demands descend. It is a place of refuge and renewal where you encounter the God who knows you intimately and loves you deeply. When you make this practice your own, you will discover a wellspring of grace that sustains you in every circumstance. So, as the sun rises and the world stirs, let your spirit awaken with the intention to seek God first. Close the door on distractions and open your heart wide. Come ready, come open, come expectant to receive His message. Let this sacred time become your anchor, your source, and your sanctuary. Remember, God's presence is not a fleeting visitor but a constant companion. He longs to fill your mornings with His peace, your days with His guidance, and your life with His power. When you choose to embrace Him at the start of each day, you are choosing a life transformed by His love and strength. I encourage you now to take this step with courage and faith. Begin each morning by deliberately inviting God in. Let your prayer be simple, your heart sincere, and your spirit open. As you do, watch how the ordinary moments of your day become extraordinary encounters with divine power. Come ready, come open, come expectant to receive His message. This is your invitation to walk in the fullness of God's presence and live a life marked by peace, strength, and unshakable hope. As we arrive at this sacred juncture, I challenge you to take a moment and honestly evaluate your morning routine. How often do you wake and rush headlong into the demands of the day without first seeking the presence of God? What impact does this have on your peace, your strength, your ability to navigate the challenges ahead? The truth is, the way we begin our mornings profoundly shapes the rhythm of our entire day, our emotions, our choices, our resilience. But here is the good news. You have the power to change this rhythm. You can choose a new beginning, a beginning rooted in the presence and power of God. I invite you now to make a commitment, not a fleeting promise, but a daily, intentional decision to embrace morning prayer as the foundation of your day. To welcome God's presence with open arms each morning before the noise and busyness crowd in. To silence the distractions and center your heart on His voice. To let His peace settle like a shield around your spirit, His strength become the muscle that carries you through every moment, and His guidance be the compass that directs every step. This commitment is not about adding another task to your to-do list. It is about reclaiming a sacred space within your dia space, where heaven and earth meet, where your soul is refreshed, and where divine power is made manifest in your life. It is about choosing to walk daily in the light and power of God rather than relying on your own limited strength. So I pray with you now, from the depths of my heart, that God's presence would fill you completely and abundantly. May His light surround you, illuminating your path with clarity and wisdom. May His peace guard your heart against fear and anxiety. May His strength rise within you, steadying your steps and renewing your spirit. May His love envelop you, assuring you that you are known, held, and deeply cherished. God, I welcome your voice. I rest in your promises. I declare that your presence surrounds me now and always. Fill me, empower me, lead me. Let your Spirit move in me and through me, that I might live a life marked by your peace, strength, and unwavering hope. To each one listening now, I extend an invitation to join the Grace Prayer Community, a family of believers committed to this sacred journey of embracing God's presence daily. Together, we share prayers, reflections, and encouragement, supporting one another as we grow in faith and power. You are not alone in this walk. We are a community united by the same hunger for God and the same desire to live transformed lives. Come ready, come open, come expectant to receive His message. Let us commit to this daily practice, to this holy discipline, that we might walk boldly and faithfully in the light of God's presence. Let us encourage one another, pray for one another, and celebrate the ways God moves among us. The journey ahead is bright with promise because it is held in the hands of a faithful God. As you step forward in faith, know this: His presence goes before you, surrounds you, and never leaves you. You are empowered, you are equipped, and you are deeply loved. Let us walk together in this truth, daily embracing the transforming power of God's presence. Amen.